In this video, we're going to talk about the stimulus package update for August the 4th. And there is a lot of stuff that happened today that could come together to shape up to be quite a stimulus package. But before we get into it, if this is your first time at our channel or you haven't subscribed, click on the subscribe button at the bottom. My name is Travis Sickle, certified financial planner, helping you reach your financial goals. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and Senator Chuck Schumer spoke after negotiations over the stimulus package. And today seemed like a pretty good day. They were in good spirits. And Chuck Schumer was talking about them making concessions for the Republicans and them appreciating it. And then the Republicans making concessions for the Democrats and the Democrats appreciating it. And he said they were slogging through it and making some headway. So it looks like they're working on the negotiations, but they still don't have anything just yet. But it's really hard to figure out how much progress they've made just listening to them, because each day is completely different. One day they're happy with the progress and the next not so much. And we were expecting this to get passed last week, and they still have nothing. And the clock is ticking. By the end of the week, they might be going home. But I'm not trying to alarm you, because it's very likely that they'll work through it until they have an agreement. Because let's face it, last week, on July the 31st, the unemployment checks for the federal side, the $600, was over. And everybody who's on unemployment is currently waiting to see what's going to happen next. Now, in my previous videos, I was talking about what's being proposed for the unemployment. There was a lot of back and forth and a lot of changes. One of those proposals that made it to paper was the $200 transitioning to the 70% wage replacement. The Republicans were thinking that's just too much because it's going to incentivize people not to go back to work. Well, as we're going through this pandemic and people can't go back to work, or some people can't go back to work, why not offer 100% wage replacement? Well, finally, someone must have been watching my videos. So Senator Lindsey Graham, here's the headline, Senator Lindsey Graham, to propose compromise on unemployment benefit during pandemic. And then we have Senator Lindsey Graham proposal, cap unemployment benefits at 100% of workers' wages. And that makes a lot of sense, because the unemployment to give a flat $600 all over the country really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the reason is the cost of living is so much different, and the state unemployment benefits are so much different. To give you some numbers behind it, if we look at some statistics and figure out where is the highest unemployment and the lowest unemployment payments. Well, the lowest unemployment is in Alabama and Florida at $275. But then in Massachusetts, it is $823. Now, here's what this works out to. If you take those numbers just on an annual basis and multiply those numbers out by 52 weeks. So for Massachusetts, 823 times 52 is going to be 42,796. In Florida, that would equal 275 times 52, and that would be $14,300. Well, if we just look at what the averages are across the country, if we look to Social Security Administration's website, we could see that the median wage is $32,838. Now that is for 2018. Well, if we tack on those $600 payments in Massachusetts, that would be $73,996. So again, that is the $823 per week multiplied by 52 weeks. That's $42,796. If we add the unemployment from the federal government at $600, that's at a rate of $31,200 for the year. So you add those two numbers up, that would be somebody earning $73,996 on unemployment on an annual basis. I know that it's not on an annual basis that you're going to make all this money, but it's still annualized. So even if it's weekly or monthly, you still have to compare it to the average job or what the wage replacement is, because that is the intent of the unemployment. Now, if we flip to Florida and Alabama, which were on the lower side, even with the $31,200 to their measly $14,300, That's still $45,500 on an annualized basis when the median is $32,838. And even if we increase that by thousands of dollars, it's still not going to come close to that number. And this isn't a new concept. The cost of living is different in different areas, and so is the wages. But here's the takeaway on the unemployment side. The Democrats want $600. The Republican side is starting with the $200. In fact, they started with nothing. They didn't want any extension of unemployment. And then they said, okay, well, the coronavirus, the pandemic is continuing. We've got to do something. So they wanted to do 200 with the 70% wage replacement. And then Senator Lindsey Graham is coming with the proposal to do 100% wage replacement, which would still be less than the $600 in a lot of areas, but not all. And it's still unclear how those details would be worked out. In a state like Florida or Alabama, where they're only paying $275, would that equal quite a bit more from the federal government versus another state that's paying significantly more for their state unemployment? So they might get a smaller amount, but it really depends on the state's wage or the average wage or the median wage, whichever metric they're going to use. And as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said today, the devil is in the details, and so are the angels. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Again, President Trump talked about or was asked the question on unemployment and what he could possibly do. And he did revisit those 2 points that we talked about yesterday. And that is the evictions or preventing the evictions through executive order and the payroll tax cuts through executive order. And it's clear that President Trump wants the payroll tax cuts and he's trying to figure out how to get it done. So if he does it through executive order, this is going to boost paychecks for those that are back to work or currently working. And this will actually give quite a boost to those independent contractors and the self-employed, because as a self-employed individual, you're paying 15.3%. Now, it doesn't work out to quite 15.3%. So I want to show you really quickly what that would look like so you can figure out how much in payroll taxes that you would save. Now, yesterday I talked about or showed a pay stub on exactly how much you could save. And the math is pretty simple. If you take your wage and you multiply that by 0.765%, then that is the amount that you would get back in your paycheck. So a little bit of a boost. But again, if you're self-employed, it's a little bit less than 15.3%. So let me pull it up on the screen so you can see. So I pulled up a Schedule C really quickly, and I can go through some more of this information. If you want, let me know in the comments down below. But if you do $100,000, you're still gonna have, that's your net profit. You're still gonna have to multiply it by 0.9235. And that's going to give us, in this example, $92,350. And then you would multiply it by the 15.3% in most cases. Once you get over the Social Security max of $132,900, then you no longer pay 6.2%, which is the Social Security side, but you continue to pay the Medicare side. So it's still a big boost in your paycheck. But this is especially a big boost for those independent contractors and the self-employed. And then there was another little gem today with the signing of the Great American Outdoors Act. And this is going to create, it's not only going to help the national parks and revamp them and get them all cleaned up, but it's also going to create 100,000 new jobs. Now that's a small piece of the puzzle, but every little bit adds to the stimulus package. And not to mention, a lot of people don't want to fly anymore and they're really scared of travel. So they're doing more local travel. So this could be a big boost and the right timing to get the national parks cleaned up. Now we don't have a stimulus package just yet, but the debates and the arguments going on in Congress over the stimulus package could give the president just enough time to possibly use his executive order. And I don't even know if that's possible, but if he can figure it out, he might be able to cut the payroll tax and prevent evictions, all the meanwhile getting the stimulus package pushed through at the end of the day. So we could get a little bit of everything. Now, until it's done, until it's signed, anything could happen. But let me know in the comments down below what you think and what you think would be the most impactful part of the stimulus package that you want to see. And that is your update for August the 4th. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and leave your comments down at the bottom.